This is CNN. I'm Brooke Baldwin. Safe to say the already unprecedented presidential race took a new dramatic turn as the Republican Party erupts into a civil war. The National Review, the one founded in 1955 by conservative forefather William F. Buckley, the one that many credit for defining the conservative movement, the one that brags 94% of its readership as politically active, that National Review has just dedicated its latest issue to pleading with people not to vote for Donald Trump. You see the cover, Against Trump, features pieces from 22 conservative thinkers, all explaining why Trump should not be the Republican nominee for president. Here is one sample from radio talk show host Michael Medved, quoting him, "Worst of all, Trump's brawling, blustery, mean-spirited public persona serves to associate conservatives with all the negative stereotypes that liberals have for decades attached to their opponents on the right." Trump, a consistent counterpuncher, has responded to that.
The National Review is a dying paper. Its circulation's way down. Not very many people read it anymore. I mean, people don't even think about the National Review. So I guess they want to get a little publicity.
With me now, the man you just heard me quote, Michael Medved, whose program runs on 300 radio stations nationwide. Michael, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I hadn't heard Mr. Trump's response until just now, and that's terrific. By the way, the National Review isn't a dying paper because it's not a paper; it's a magazine.
It's a magazine,
and
right.
It has been for many, many years, since William F. Buckley's time, the most influential voice of conservatism. And what I think is ironic here is, you may remember, in Donald Trump's very effective answer to Ted Cruz on that issue of New York values, when Cruz made the point, well, I don't know a lot of prime conservatives who come out of Manhattan, Trump shot back William F. Buckley. He was the founder and longtime editor of the National Review, which is now pleading with people, you're right,
I see your point.
Please don't support Trump.
So that was your response to Trump. But let me ask you this, because this is my first question. You know, we're a week away, just over a week away from Iowa. Why wait until now to do this? I mean, shouldn't you have done this earlier in his campaign?
I've been doing it on my show for months, frankly.
But the National Review.
A lot of people. In terms of the National Review, I can't speak for them. I really can't. I think what they were waiting for was this very broad consensus, because the people who wrote in this issue include people like myself who support immigration reform, and I do, and people who are deadly opposed to immigration reform. It's everyone from Thomas Sowell to Brent Bozell to Mona Charen to Glenn Beck. And some of the people who are writing in the National Review do support Ted Cruz. I don't. Basically, I think the most important thing right now is to prevent Trump from getting that 50% plus one of the delegates that he would need on the first ballot.
Michael, let me just jump in. What if this backfires, and in the
Sure.
end, all of you coming together and saying no, no, no to Trump really, in essence, helps him?
Well, I don't think that is going to be the case, because right now, I think that Trump certainly has command of some enthusiasm from the party, but I think that what is really important at this point is to try to unify the anti-Trump forces. That's really why he's been winning in all of these polls and primaries. It's because it's not Trump or Cruz, it's not Trump or Rubio, it's Trump or Cruz, Rubio, Bush, Christie, Kasich. Kasich is soaring in New Hampshire right now. So I think what we really have to do is focus on what it is that the party needs and what the party needs to avoid. Well, and Brooke, I'm sorry to go on, but this is an existential issue for the Republican Party, because if we get to the point where Latinos and Asians, who are going to be combined about 15% of the vote this coming election, if Latinos and Asians vote as automatically for Democrats as blacks have done for many elections, we have no future as a party. It's the end of the Republican Party.
So
on
that note,
both Trump and Cruz risk that.
Then why not? Why don't all of you guys dedicate a cover rallying behind one candidate so that voters have a clear view of who the anti-Trump could be?
Right now, we don't agree. I mean, there are a lot of people who wrote in the National Review who think the alternative to Trump is is Ted Cruz. Glenn Beck has endorsed Ted Cruz. A number of the others who wrote have endorsed Ted Cruz.
What about you? Would you take Cruz over Trump?
No, I would take Trump over Cruz. And by the way, if Trump is the nominee, I'll support him. But the problem is I don't believe that he can win. And worst of all, I think he will do long-term damage to the conservative brand. Here's one of my basic points, Brooke, is Donald Trump is a liberal's idea of what a conservative is. Somebody with inherited wealth, who has always been spoiled, who's always had it his way, who wants to protect his own advantages, who is mean-spirited, who's blustery, who's loud, who's vulgar, and who's a bully. And that's the liberal view of a conservative. A conservative, if you ask a conservative, what's an example of a great conservative? No one would think Donald Trump. We would say Ronald Reagan, Jack Kemp, William F. Buckley.
But who are you
very
for
different
now,
personality
Michael?
types.
Who are you for now?
I'm for. If I had to vote now, I'd vote for Rubio, but I also respect and like Governor Christie, Governor Kasich, Governor Bush, virtually any of the alternatives. And I think that is what we have to go for, is maintaining an open race with an open convention where we can choose a candidate who can win.
But that's part of the issue, where no one's really decided and coalesced on the one other candidate, if it's not Cruz or Trump. And isn't that part of the problem?
I don't think so. I think that's part of the solution right now, Brooke, and I'll tell you why. People are not paying attention, but we have proportionality rules in all of these primaries. In other words, if Trump wins a primary with 30% of the vote, it's not good enough. He needs 50%. I think it's very likely at this point that we will go to the convention. Donald Trump will have the most delegates, but he won't have 50%. And that gives people a chance in the run-up to the convention, in the last few weeks before Cleveland, coming up this summer, to get together and to decide about a candidate who's viable.
Michael Medved, we'll chat again.
Thank you.
Thank you.